Hey, welcome back. I wanted to share with you what I've been working on lately on this Yamaha qt50. So I started off wanting to modify the piston and the cylinder with the idea that we could get more air-fuel mixture to the combustion chamber. So, let's see, do I have another one handy? I don't think so. Anyhow, this qt50 cylinder comes with a little notch in it on the intake side. And I decided, well, maybe we should open that up a little bit. So I made it into a bigger notch. Now let's see if you can see what I mean. And then I made a corresponding notch in the piston where there was none. Normally it just, kind of looks like the other side. This one's a little beat up, but it kind of, normally looks like that. But this is on the intake side. I put a notch so that when the piston's all the way down, these notches line up. And I thought, and I think it did work, that this would allow more air-fuel mixture to go, let's see, not only inside the piston, but then into the combustion chamber. But I was thinking about it. It must have worked to a degree, but I didn't change the intake or the transfer ports on the inside of the cylinder, so those remain the same. But I guess it could pull in more air-fuel mixture. But anyways, it did seem to run much richer, and well, however, it didn't really gain any power. Things kind of stayed the same. And plus it was running really hot. I had this all the way up to 433 degrees, which is ridiculously hot for this bike. And I seized this piston once. So I decided to give up on that experiment for the time being. Now you will see that this cylinder has a copper spacer and 2 base gaskets. And I did that to push all the ports, whoops, sorry, I'm going to have to stand back a little bit, all the ports forward some. And then to compensate for that, you machine off pretty much the same amount from the front of the cylinder here where the head gasket goes. So I think on this one I pushed it up 2 millimeters, so I had 2 millimeters taken off the front, so the piston still comes to the top of the bore. And now let me see if I can set you up. I'm going to probably have to, I need 3 hands. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to set up the light. That's what I'll have to do. 1 second. I need my little gorilla pod. So I got another cylinder that I had taken over 3 millimeters off the front and put, I might be even at 4 millimeters, and put a 4 millimeter spacer on the back. Now you're gonna have to forgive my camera holding, but what you see there is the piston is fully exposing the exhaust port, and then I don't know if you can see it there. Alright, we'll look at the transfer ports later, but it's also fully exposing all the transfer ports. Now normally somewhere in here is where the piston sits at bottom dead center on a stock qt50 cylinder. So you can see it's blocking a good portion of the exhaust port. And I'm gonna go around to the other side. And here's one of the transfer ports, and it's blocking a huge portion of the transfer ports. So by doing this shim trick on a stock cylinder and then machining the front of the cylinder so the piston returns to the top of the bore, I'm able to fully expose all of the ports on the qt50 stock cylinder. So you can imagine, and we'll do a test ride tomorrow, what that could mean. I've got you back in the stand. Actually, you can kind of see it through everything there. I've got the levitating spark plug going on, but so we'll take it back to top dead center. You can see it's coming to the top of the cylinder because I've machined off, had the front of that cylinder machined off. Let's take it to the very bottom of its range, and you can see that left transfer or the right transfer port completely exposed, which is the same for the other side, as well as the exhaust, as well as the transfer port on the top, I believe. Let's take a peek. Well, what do you know? The transfer port on the top is still partially blocked. That's amazing. Well, anyhow, 3 out of the 4 ports are fully exposed. Which makes me wonder if I shouldn't do some porting on the top transfer port there. Let's see. Interesting. So, we haven't completely freed the cylinder of the piston blockage, so to speak. We've come pretty close, but anyhow, I can tell you that this runs pretty darn well, and hopefully I can finish this video with a little test ride. I also discovered in looking at it tonight that my exhaust port was carboned up, so I cleaned that out some. That was a mess. So we're going to get even better flow tomorrow than I had today. So we'll see how it all works out. But that's what I've been up to with the qt50 cylinder and piston. Now this piston that's in it I did not notch. It is, however, a windowed piston. So I don't have another one to show you, but it's basically got a couple windows on the intake side, and I believe that helps some as well, but we'll get into that later. Alright, next, hopefully you're on the bike riding with me.